jẹ́ kí n hurry kí n sọ nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ
hurry
tán.
yín wà lọ́wọ́ àwọn PH àbí kíra àwọn tó ń tanná fún yín bẹ́ẹ̀ sà tẹ́ bá ti tún ṣe ń sìn amaníkẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ láti ní ìyẹn with maximum respect ní ìlàṣẹ fún yín kò ní dín 10 anything percent.
Mi ò ní lè dúró kí n sọ̀rọ̀ láti náà ló ń jẹ́ kí n fẹ́ sọ nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ sí yín báyìí.
Kò burú sà ó yá ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ sà.
Ọ̀túnba.
Yes sir.
Ọ̀túnba mi ò ní lè dúró sọ̀rọ̀ last because mo tún lọ sí ìpàdé mìíràn láago 8. Mo ní kí n yá kí mo ṣe fẹ́ kí yín báyìí.
Ẹ ṣé sà.
Mo dúpẹ́ púpọ̀ lọ́wọ́ yín. I am very happy for United Kingdom is at last gathering itself together properly. And the kind of influence that we hope that the diaspora in London, United Kingdom have over the rulers of Britain, and now lead our United Kingdom, the coordinator of our United Bashigun.
Okay, it seems that network here only fún bàbá wa ní problem ní ìsàlẹ̀ lọ́hùn. Ẹ má bínú gbogbo ẹ̀yin ará lé. A jẹ́ kí bàbá wa ti
network ló ń yọ wá lẹ́nu bí.
Okay, yes sir. Ẹ go ahead sir. I'm going sir.
Because he has brought a lot of dignity to the management of the affairs of our United Kingdom chapter. Ọlọ́run ayé ẹ̀yin náà síbẹ̀ ṣe ń lé yẹ́ Oòduà sí ọ. Mo kí yín púpọ̀. Ọmọ mi Kóìkì, inú mi dùn pé ẹ wà ní pàdé àwọn èèyàn wa ní United Kingdom. Ẹ kú iṣẹ́ náà Ọlọ́run á fún yín ṣe o. Ẹnì kankan ò ní fẹsẹ̀ kọ lára yín o. Bá a ṣe ń ṣe ìyá máa ṣe débi ayọ̀ ni tá a máa jó tá a máa yọ̀ nígboro Ìbàdàn nígboro Èkó nígboro Adó Èkìtì nígboro Òṣogbo láìpẹ́ lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn máa ń sọ pé a ò lágbára àìmọ̀ Yorùbá dáadáa ló ń jẹ́ kẹ́ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. We are a very strong nation. We are a very resourceful nation. We are a nation with a great deal of capabilities. Then ẹnìkan bá rò pé àwọn lè subdue wa, wọ́n á discover pé it cannot happen. So mo kí yín púpọ̀, but ẹ jẹ́ ká mú the rulers of the country, the politicians, the people in the academia, they know us, they know the Yoruba people. The people in the clergy, they know us, they know the Yoruba people. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wá ọ̀nà láti dọ́dọ̀ wọn, ká persuade wọn wípé the Yoruba nation wants its own country away from Nigeria. It was a mistake that they made in rounding us up with the other people. But they must now help us to correct that mistake. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, iṣẹ́ yín nìyẹn. That's your major work. Ọlọ́run á dẹ̀ fún yín ṣe. Ọ̀rọ̀ election tó nílẹ̀ wa, àwa ti decide. Àwọn kan máa ń bèrè wípé tá a bá wá win ní case tá a pè sí court ńkọ́. This is not about winning or losing a case. It's about making an affirmative statement that we cannot be ruled in a country which has no concept to be ruled under that constitution is that we are slaves. But we are not slaves. We will make the statement clear before the court. And that is a good record for our international posture, that we went to court to say we are no longer part of this country. And therefore, under what they call the Nigerian Constitution, which is the 1999 Constitution, which is a fraud, we refuse, we reject any election in our land. We need to make that statement because we are accumulating the materials for our ultimate pitch before the international community. We have gone to the International Criminal Court to sue the government and important officials of the government of Nigeria about the killings in our land, about the killing of people in our farms, about the raping and killing of our women, about the killing of children on their way to school, about the destruction of farms and villages and farmsteads. We have done all of that. It is on record now before the International Criminal Court. So it's not just that when the time comes for us to put our case before the international community, we will be talking as if we are just gathering our information. We will not be just gathering our information. We have very solid information before the international before the international community. That is why we must go to court about the election that they have proposed in Ekiti and Osun. We must put the case clearly before the court of law that we reject being ruled, that we reject having election in our land under the 1999 Constitution because we are not slaves. They are treating us like slaves and we rejected, and we have gone to court to reject being treated as slaves. It's not a question of whether we win or we lose. We may lose, it doesn't matter. We may win, it's not particularly important. But the important thing is that we will have in our hands a statement made before a court of law to the effect that we will not be ruled in Nigeria because Nigeria is being ruled under a fraudulent constitution. That Nigeria is a fraud, and we are announcing to the world that we do not desire to continue to be part of it. That in fact we have taken steps in the force majeure thing that we declared with the South, the Southeast, and the Middle Belt, that we want the federal government of Nigeria to come and negotiate with us. They have kept quiet. They don't want to do so. They are arrogant. That's not how to rule a country. That's not how to rule a people. There is no need for arrogance in governance. The people are the people. They are the owners of the country, of the government. Therefore, arrogance is a foolish posture to adopt. So they have refused to come and negotiate. So they have therefore accepted that we are right and they are wrong. That is it. That is our situation. The big thing now is how to amass the resources with which we will go to court. But I'm told that you in the United Kingdom are already doing something about it. And other people will rise up and join you. Whenever we have a little bit of money, let the case start in court. And when it starts in court, more and more resources will come for the prosecution of it. Pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ náà àwọn elite wa, àwọn tó jẹ́ bàbá wa, àwọn tó lágbára, àwọn ready láti join wa. The time will come when they would have no option but to come and join us. They will come running. Yeah. Because everything, the country of Nigeria that wants to hold us down is no longer capable really of holding anything down. I won't say more than that. They say they are planning to come and bring Tuaregs and and ISIS and Al-Qaeda terrorists from far away to come and invade our land. We are waiting, and the vultures in our forests are waiting for their flesh. Yeah, so that is it. We are Yoruba. We are the largest and most resourceful nation, Black nation in the world. And we cannot be subdued the way they are thinking. People will emerge from far away and come to defend our land. I want you to be sure about that. But we ourselves at home, we must be ready to fight back and push them out of their land and let their bodies litter our bushes for the vultures to eat. Thank you very much. Ekushel, Mokinyo, I am an old man and I'm no longer strong enough to do the things that you need to be done. But I'm standing here by your side, behind you, and offering you the counsel, the advice that an old man must offer to his children in a moment of war. We are in a moment of war, and it's a war that we are going to win. Thank you very much. Say more of your meeting. Now I ask your coordinator to let me say these few words, and then I wish the meeting the greatest of success. And may the Lord bless every one of us engaged in this struggle. May we dance and laugh and praise the Lord at the end. Thank you very much. Odabo, Ekushe now. But if anybody wants to ask me one or two questions before I go, I'm ready to answer.
Baba, àti fi àwọn orúkọ kan lẹ́rìn tó yẹ pé àtẹnuwí àti kọ we're not going to allow a welcome message here fún wa yẹn is more than enough. A lè mú mi sí yẹn until next Friday tí èmi àtúnṣe pa máa tún pè yín. A máa rí yín bá sà. Ẹ pẹ́ fún wa. Nǹkan kò ní ṣe yín gbàdúrà délẹ̀ lérí tá à ń lọ nífẹ̀ẹ́ nǹkan kan ṣe àwádìí sà. Adúpẹ́dúpẹ́ lọ yín. God bless you.
Amen.
Happy
Amen.
and
Thank you.
Your next meeting.
Okay.
Good luck, sir. God bless you. Adúpẹ́ sà.
Okay. Ekushe.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi, what else can I say? The only thing tí mo fẹ́ sọ ní pé kẹ́ jẹ́ ká continue with the main program of tonight. Gbogbo ilẹ̀ gbọ́ nǹkan tí national leader wa ti sọ. So ìta máa mú ṣe almost everything la máa mú ṣe. Ìta bá dẹ̀ rò pé a lè reconsider, a lè review, a lè rearrange, a lè readdress. Cost nothing. He's a highly educated man. He will listen to everybody. So, láì fọ̀rọ̀gùn lọ, èèyàn mi, bàbá IlanaUK, olóyè òní. Ó yẹ gbóhùn sókè sà.
Thank you very much indeed. I think what I'm going to start with is there is a myth that the idea of a Yoruba homeland is new. But in fact, the idea of a homeland for the Yoruba people is rooted in antiquity. It is not something new. In fact, the Yoruba have had a diaspora since time immemorial. And that diaspora has maintained and never broke ties to their historic homeland. Again, since time immemorial. Nǹkan táwọn Yorùbá fi máa ń sọ pé iṣẹ́ adé ló sọmọ nù bí òkò. Because to us, ilé làbọ̀ sími oko, one of the most important tenets of being a Yoruba, the identity of Yoruba, is the home, ilé. That's why we have the concept of Agbo Ile. That's why we have the concept of Ile làbọ̀ sími oko. In fact, legend has it that the world began in Yoruba land. In the beginning, there was only the sky above, Orun, ruled by the god Olorun, and water below, ruled by the god Olokun. Obatala, another god, brought soil down from the sky to place it down to form a patch of solid earth. Àwọn òrìṣà then spread that sand as directed by the Pharaoh oracle spread the sword all over the corners of the earth.
Hello, can you hear me?
To all continents. Now, some people might think that this is a myth, but actually there is historical evidence to support this myth, this narrative, and that is this: the peoples of West Africa were the first humans
working on it
to develop from primitive hunter-gatherers to agriculturalists. When man first became man, the way that he fed himself was like as hunters, as hunter-gatherers. The man then developed to become agriculturalists. In order to become agriculturalists, they first had to develop the ability to change the chemistry of metals to make farming implements.
Okay.
And the archaeological evidence is that the peoples of West Africa were the first humans to develop this agricultural, the ability to grow and plant things. I can say this with some confidence in the sense that I've just enrolled in a course called The Economic History of Africa. So, there have been 2 lectures, and it's been fascinating attending those lectures. It is when you start again going back to school, going back to listen to other people, that you realize that you didn't know an awful lot. And this is important. This evidence that West Africa was where the first humans developed the ability of agriculture is very important, because there are people who tell us that the Yorubas came from the east, the Yorubas came from the north, the Yorubas came from here and there. In fact, African history now, as we know it, tells us that people migrated from Yoruba land, north and south, and not into Yoruba land. So that would be my opening remark, because I want people to have it in mind that the idea of a Yoruba homeland is rooted in antiquity. Àwọn bàbá wa tí they've always believed in a Yoruba homeland. So it isn't anything new at all. So I will stop there and I will take questions. Thank you very much.
The next questions, you can read it out, and then the first one, second one, then I'll follow.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ń gbọ́ wa, and we appreciate gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ wà nílé náà. Let's go straight láti ìbéèrè tí ó ti wá láti ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn tí wọ́n fẹ́ mọ kí ló fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ gan ní election tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe tó máa wáyé. Ìbéèrè àkọ́kọ́ ni what do we benefit by having an independent Yoruba nation? Ìbéèrè ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì, how do we achieve this independence? Màdẹ́nu dúró bẹ́ẹ̀ kí bàbá wa Báṣẹ́gun kí wọ́n bá wa dáhùn ìbéèrè yẹn lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́, nítorí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá wọ́n ń béèrè nípa ìbéèrè méjèèjì yẹn. A kí gbogbo lélẹ̀ kan sí ẹ jẹ́ n padà sọ́dọ̀ yín.
Thank you very much indeed for those 2 questions. I must first apologize. Most of my answers will be in English, because a lot of things are technical, and with all the will in the world, I don't want to spend too much time trying to know what technical Yoruba I can use. When I've been asked this question in the past, first I had 4 benefits that I could point to. Then
recording in progress.
Then they became 6 benefits, and now today I have 8 benefits. That is the benefits of having a Yoruba nation. The first benefit is that we can do things our own Yoruba way. We can do things our own way. We have our own distinct Yoruba convention. We have our own culture. We have our own tradition. Tó yàtọ̀ sí gbogbo anybody on this planet. We have our own laws from ancient times. In fact, I wrote a book on Yoruba law, the ancient Yoruba law. So we have our own. We don't need the laws from anywhere else. In fact, Our law is as good as any. Although in Nigeria it is denigrated as a customary law, but in actual fact, there is nothing in English law that is better than the ancient Yoruba laws. We have our own system of government. Lugard himself in 1937 referred to it as a democratic system of government. And I was on a Omobori media a week or so ago, where I described this system of government, which I call constitutional Auburn. It is exactly the same constitutional monarchy that is practiced in England. But about constitutional Auburn, many people will say it's an old-fashioned, it's the constitutional monarchy of Britain is not, is also ancient, as ancient as the Yoruba constitutional monarchy. But, you know, at some stage when the time comes, I will have the opportunity of expanding on that. The Omoluabi ethos has made the Yoruba people a cultured people, civil people, congenial people, generous people, hospitable people. Because we are civilized people. People who prefer to live in the 16th, 17th century. Can you imagine that on the 24th century, I can die and one day say banku that as if it is something to be proud of. So that's the first benefit that we have, is that we can do things the Yoruba way. The second thing, which is also important, is that we can keep Yoruba money in Yoruba land. You guys hear this or not? Since 1914, the Yorubas have been providing the money to sustain the development of the North. In fact, the main aim of the 1914 amalgamation was to rob Peter to pay Paul. And since 1914, we have been paying. We have not stopped paying since 1914. Today, 75% of Nigeria's income comes from Yoruba land. And since 1914, customs. Where else will you get customs money in Nigeria? It's only in Yoruba land. If you look at the East, who do they bother with? Cameroons. And it's the English part of Cameroon which is at war. So there's no money coming anywhere else other than Yoruba land. People talk about oil. 75% of Nigeria's income comes from Yoruba land. Now, just imagine if all that money was retained in Yoruba land. I reckon that we are talking about 10 trillion naira a year. 10 trillion naira. Imagine if, just close your eyes for a minute and imagine that we had that 10 trillion naira to spend in Yoruba land. So the second benefit is that we can keep Yoruba money in Yoruba land. The third benefit, which comes from the second, is that we can develop Yoruba land exactly the way we want. And we know we can do it because we've done it before. Between 1952 and 1959, we were the most developed, the most progressive nation on the African soil. Nobody could touch us. We have human capital in abundance. And you can tell because many native-born Yoruba practice their professions in different parts of the world. When we talk about advances in and complexities in artificial intelligence, new robotics, new science, new technology, we Yorubas are undaunted. Kubaleru. We have arable and fertile land in abundance. We can grow. If you spit, if you are not careful, just spit on the ground, it will grow something. When you compare it to agriculture in this country, I have an allotment, a part of land where I grow vegetables in this country. You can't grow anything now until March or April. Impossible. Nile, you can grow anytime you like. So we have arable and fertile land. The whole of the development of the 1952 to 59 was sustained by cocoa. We didn't borrow any money. There was no oil. There was no nothing. Cocoa sustained. We can do it again. we have mineral resources that are yet untapped. People talk about bitumen, marble, gold, even we have oil. And then when you look at our landscape, all the hills in Yoruba land, we can harness renewable energy. We don't, all this, we can harness renewable energy from the sun, solar power, from water, and from wind. I say something, when I first went to New Zealand and you came out of the airport and you look at the horizon, there's all over the place are wind turbines. All over the place. That's how they have unlimited electricity. Wind turbines everywhere. Even in the UK, when initially the wind turbines were dotted here and there, the whole place is full of wind turbines. And we have places where we can place wind turbines that will give us unlimited electricity forever. We have untapped resources in tourism. We have historical sites like Ife, Oshogbo, and so on and so forth. We have sites of natural beauty. We have Ikogosi, where you had hot and cold water coming out. We have the other waterfall near Erimon, which I visited the last time I was in Nigeria. And then we have Egungun Festival, for example. This is the same sort of thing that they call carnival, that we pay money to go to Brazil to go and see, that we pay money to go to Trinidad to go and watch. The same Egungun Festival, if it is well developed, people will come to Yoruba land to go and watch. The next benefit is that we Yoruba people, we can play a more visible and constructive role on the global stage. We can play a more visible and constructive role on the global stage. We have physical and social sciences that our ancient forefathers perfected. They are still to be exploited. One of the things that I talk to people about is about bere. Younger people probably don't know anything about bere. This is scarification in which they put medicine, which then goes into your body. That is called, in medicine, it's called intradermal deposit of medicine. Smallpox. And do you know that it was a Yoruba man who introduced that technique to America before it then became worldwide? Because the Yorubas they knew that there was an agent that caused smallpox. And they knew that if they vaccinated somebody, he would not get smallpox. The Yorubas had known that before any other race on this planet. I mean, one of the things that I talk about, again, I wrote a book on Yoruba medicine, on ancient Yoruba medicine. The concept of Yoruba medicine is similar to the concept of modern medicine, because we believe that an agent causes disease. Now, if you compare us to whether India knew or Chinese medicine knew, their concept is nebulous, yin and yang, something flowing somewhere, when in fact disease is simple. You get a disease agent that causes disease. The Yorubas knew that. We have known that from time immemorial. So for a change, when we have our own homeland, we will be able to play a more visible and constructive role on the globe. So art, so I haven't talked about art at all, or about somebody like Shoyinka, who is a Nobel laureate. The fifth advantage, or the fifth benefit of having our own Yoruba homeland, is that we can educate and employ our youth the way we want. The federal character, has destroyed our education system. It has deprived our children of education. You will have a situation where somebody will score 10% somebody from the north will score 10%. Somebody from Yoruba land will score 90%. One by 10% university, and to by 91 because they are talking of federal character. They have education used to be our pride. They destroyed it. They have damaged, they destroyed the talents of our children. That's why our children are doing Yahoo business when they should be using their intellect to improve our lives. These people, Nigeria has destroyed all that. We have been in the forefront of it since 1955, when Awolowo introduced primary education. And I, sitting or standing before you today, I'm a beneficiary. I won the first SETI 1955. In fact, I remember in those days, in my class, because it was free, there were people children from the same family, from the age of 6 that I was then to 17. There was somebody who was 17 in our class. Because for the first time it was free, the parents didn't have to pay. So they said, okay. In terms of employment opportunities, just think about it. If we have Yoruba nation, you just think about it. Customs new, I need custom officers. Police, teacher police, come from somewhere to be policing. Army, military, Navy. Just imagine the amount of employment that will be generated. Tourism, we're talking about requiring electricians, our law, all our children who live, who study law, they will have jobs to do. Just imagine how many jobs will be created by just having Yoruba nation. And my estimate is that we are talking about 2 million jobs, just like that, created just by declaring Yoruba nation. So in fact, we can educate and employ our youth exactly the way we want. The 6th benefit is that for the first time, we can secure our external and internal borders. We currently have no security because our security is in the hands of somebody else. And they don't care. In fact, they are the ones who encourage the herders to behave the way they do. Just imagine it. Between Lagos and Ibadan, how many checkpoints do I have? And yet people are being kidnapped. So by having our own ability to secure our external and internal border, we can keep out the undesirables. One of the things that I say is that the good Lord put River Niger where it is for a good reason. River Niger was our protector until the bridges. It was our protector. It protected us from all these barbarians, these people who have no culture, these people whose brains are inhabiting the 16th, 17th century, people who have no respect for human life. That River Niger protected us from them. When we have our own country, we will have the same protection again. The 7th thing is, I've just put it as one line, is that we keep our language and our culture. I mean, I'm speaking to you, Mo, so when we have Yoruba nation, Kosi Oropa and so Yibo, I'm a translate Nkataba Soni Yoruba si Oyibo, not the other way around. We will keep our language and we will keep our culture, which is being diluted and being messed up by the way we are in Nigeria. Finally, the benefit of a Yoruba homeland is that we will bring our people home. And when I say our people, I'm not talking just Sakuro Nigeria. No, we will bring we Yorubas are like the Jews. We have an international certificate. We're everywhere. We have had a diaspora since time began. It's nothing new. More than 10 million of us were transported as slaves to the Americas. And in recent times, many of us fled Nigeria because of the way Nigeria is. We will be able to go back home. We will be able to go back to develop our own land. Our power as Yoruba lies in our love for our homeland, as I started right at the beginning. Our strength lies in our identity as Yoruba people. When I was at school, they used to teach us this song, oh my home, when shall I see my home? When shall I see my neighbor? I shall never forget my name. So I will now go to the second question, which is, how do we get this independence, this homeland? And I will start by saying that there's no formula. People might tell you, oh, there's actually no formula of getting it at all. So if you look at Czechoslovakia, for example, they had this negotiated settlement. One part said, we want to go. The other side said, you can go. But this is not possible in Nigeria. Remember what I said earlier, that because the setup is to rob Peter to pay Paul, the parasite is not going to leave its host. No. Don't forget, many organizations, Afenifere so you, Eminent Elders Forum, New, Ilana itself, they've asked for negotiated settlement with Nigeria. But Nigeria's government is not interested. When people like Sunday Igboho want to campaign for our people, to energize our people, to enthuse our people, what do? These barbarians, they go and try, all they do is how to assassinate you. And if they, and then they go to another country to go and, rendering and incarcerating, that's all they know. When you young people were demonstrating for NSAS, what did they do? They gunned them down. Even organizations like NINAS, they asked for a referendum, but again, Nigerian government is not interested. And the reason is this: as I said, a parasite does not want to leave the host. A parasite does not want to leave the host. Just imagine, 45 years of Nigeria's 62 years of independence has been ruled by the North. 45 years. They ruled Nigeria for 45 years. And yet, it is not possible to have any dialogue with them. They just do what they like. Now, if we take the example of, remember I said there's no formula. If we take the example of Yugoslavia, it was dissolved by armed conflict. I do not believe that there's any group in Nigeria who wants civil war. I don't think so. Many people want their breast, beating their breasts. I do not believe that there's anyone, because this is not 1967. This is not 1967. Anybody who starts a civil war at this time, if the North starts a civil war at this time, they will regret it. This is Let's take the example of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union just simply collapsed because Russia had lost legitimacy as leader. Somalia too, it was a failed state, so it disintegrated. And the likelihood is that Nigeria too will simply disintegrate. But everybody, what's going to happen is that Nigeria becomes ungovernable and everybody will go their own separate way. The task for us as Yoruba people is, how do we exit Nigeria our own way, our Yoruba way? How do we do it? What the general principle that Ilana is espousing is that our exit from Nigeria, as far as possible, must be peaceful and lawful. peaceful and law-abiding. And what we can say to ourselves is this: we can start from the fact that we as Yoruba people, we fulfill the international conventional criteria for nationhood. Need Latima, in terms of we have the land, we have the people, we have the territory, we have the population. These are the criteria that specified in the Montevideo Convention of 1933, was the same sort of thing that Bush was saying in 1991 about the Soviet republics. We have the territory, well defined. We have the population, although census, we don't know exactly how many we are. That fact that we have a territory and we have the population qualifies us for the right to self-determination under the UN and African charters. And there is a right to self-determination under Nigeria's domestic law. I think if you permit me, I will stop there and wait for the next couple of questions whilst I take a sip of water.
You need it. Doctor. Well, the third question will be from me. That's put down here on the agenda. My try that is translated in Yoruba.
Okay.
And so, in summary.
Hello.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí sáré sọ nǹkan kan, mo rí àwọn kan tán wọlé, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ àwọn ẹni sùúrù, a ò síbi tẹ́rù tó máa bà wá. Tí anybody bá wọlé tó rò pé òun fẹ́ jákujàku, we just remove you. The technology tó allow yín láti wọlé, the same technology náà ló ní ká a lè mo monitor àwọn tó ń wọlé. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ kẹ́ni kankan má ṣe wọ́n kankan bíi torí rọ̀fọ̀rọ̀fọ̀, some of us àmọ̀jú rọ̀fọ̀rọ̀fọ̀ lọ. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ please don't try it. Our honourable guest. The third question, why do you think you can?
You will not find, if anybody in this meeting can find one of
irú àbáyé bóyá èjì dẹ̀ ti bẹ̀ sí fún wa ní àwọn special courage kan. Ẹni tó bá ti mu drug kò má wá síbi tẹ́ bá máa bínú kẹ́ bínú because mi ò mọ reason ká máa ṣe fi law rules sílẹ̀ pé kẹ́ má ṣe nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ̀ pé tẹ́ fẹ́ ṣe nìyẹn. Ẹ ṣe. Babawa, the third question is why do you think you can achieve an independent Yoruba nation by going to court? I just break it down to my own understanding fún àǹfààní àwọn tí wọ́n fẹ́ ká sọ Yorùbá. Ó ṣe jẹ́ pé the only way tí a lè fi achieve Yoruba independence òun ni pé tá a bá gbé case to court. That's the one. I mean, ṣe àwọn méjì la máa bí yín ìtúrí tán. Ẹ ti kọ̀yẹ́lẹ̀ ìkẹrin. Ṣe. Only how can you bring a court case when the courts themselves are established by the 1999 Constitution that you say is fraudulent? Again, for the benefits of àwọn tó fẹ́ ká sọ ní Yorùbá. Kí la ṣe mọ̀ pa máa borí, kí la ṣe mọ̀ pa máa gẹ̀ẹ́tì. Koiki, can you help me monitor àwọn tí wọ́n òpin fún tó fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ kẹ́ bá mi remove wọn? Àti Alágbàlá mi tó ní ẹjẹ bá mi remove àwọn tó bá fẹ́ máa mess around níbẹ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀. Àwọn tó wà ní kọ́kọ́ pọ̀ more than so I need any rọ̀fọ̀rọ̀fọ̀ person. So Alàgbà, our guest. So the fourth question ni pé kí la ṣe fẹ́ lọ nígbà tá a mọ̀ pé n ta máa lọ bá ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ yìí. Ẹni tí wọ́n fẹ́ tọrọ wúlọ̀ kò sówó lọ bàbá òun pé kò sí mi ní ẹ̀yẹn. Why do you still want to go there?
Okay.
The question méjì yẹn ṣó yẹ yín sàbí ká repeat it.
Oh yes. They are actually very important questions.
Ẹ ṣé sà. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ torí time ẹ má pẹ́ lórí kankan sà.
Yes, well, these two questions are particularly important, so you will give me some time to deal with them.
Okay, sir.
All right. Why do I think that we can achieve an independent nation by going to court?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to start like this. The 1966 coup was a crime against the peoples of Nigeria. It was a crime.
Mm-hmm.
The criminals have not been brought to justice. The criminals, to protect themselves, have foisted on us their own constitution. Do you understand that? These are criminals, so they are now the ones giving us constitution. And not just that, the criminals have made sure that the politicians that followed them will benefit from the proceeds of their crime. Now, the thing is this, that Nigeria is actually a legal entity. So as of 2022, Nigeria is defined by two legal instruments. The first one is the Proclamation of Amalgamation of 1 January 1914 by Lord Lugard. The second one is the promulgation of a constitution on the 5th of May by Abdul Salami. Now, if one or both of those legal instruments is fraudulent, then Nigeria does not have a legal basis for existence as a country. That is the importance of going to court. That is, Nigeria is a legal entity, is defined by two legal instruments, and if either of those instruments is fraudulent, then Nigeria as a legal entity does not exist. And, people have asked me, well, how do I know that the 1999 Constitution is a legal instrument? Okay, Section 1 of that Constitution defines itself as a legal instrument. It says, this Constitution is supreme and its provisions shall have binding force on the authorities and persons throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So that's the legal instrument. Now, it then identifies the territory to which that legal instrument applies to. And that's in Section 2.1, where it says, Nigeria is one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign state to be known by the name of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In other words, the 1999 Constitution defines itself as a legal instrument and identifies the territory, Nigeria, as the object of that legal instrument, which means you can challenge it. You can challenge the legal instrument. The thing is that almost every body of importance in Nigeria has considered that the 1999 Constitution is fraudulent. Everybody knows so, who is fraudulent. Ninas proclaimed the sovereignty dispute. Afenifere said it's a fraudulent document. Voice of Reason called it a fraudulent constitution that breeds underdevelopment, poverty, starvation, and so on and so forth. But if the constitution is fraudulent, it's not enough. The matter must be settled in a court of law. The courts are there to settle questions of legality. So since the courts have the power to interpret individual clauses of the Constitution, they also have the power to determine the legality of the entire document. And there are two reasons why the 1999 Constitution is invalid. The first is that the Constitution was imposed by military decree. You remember what I said right at the beginning, that the criminals who carried out coups in Nigeria to protect themselves wrote constitutions for us. That's all they were doing. They weren't doing constitution because they had the love of Nigeria. They were doing constitution to protect themselves. And that includes Gawan, Obasanjo, Buhari, all of them, Babangida. They're all criminals, all of them, because they carried out treasonable acts against Nigeria. So that all they've been doing when they are writing constitution is really to protect them. So they put the power in such a way that they can be protected. Abdul Salami's constitution, 1999 constitution, is Abdul Salami's constitution. It is inadmissible because it emerged from an undemocratic process. It has never been ratified by the people of Nigeria. Nobody. These people are so arrogant and so stupid that they did not allow anyone to ratify the constitution at all. And this is against Article 10 of the African Charter on Democracy, Elections, and Government. And this is what that charter says. State parties, that is countries, shall ensure that the process of amendment or revision of their constitution reposes on national consensus, obtained, if need be, through referendum. Nigeria signed that charter. That charter that says, when you have a constitution, if need be, that's what the charter says, Article 10. If need be, through a referendum. The second reason why the 1999 Constitution is illegal is because of the unilateral institution of career criminal law by the 12 Arewa states. That declaration rendered the 1999 Constitution obsolete, so that as of today, Nigeria does not have a constitution. What the Sharia declaration did was that the Arewa states, the people of the Arewa states, they have determined for themselves that they wish to be governed separately from the other 24 states of Nigeria. What is secede? They've already done that because they determined for themselves that this is how they are going to be governed. Not only did they put in the Sharia law, they also instituted Sharia police, the Hispa, or whatever it's called. So in effect, the Arewa people have rejected the supremacy of the 1999 Constitution because to them, Islam was superior to the Constitution. Islam was superior to the sovereignty of Nigeria. So in effect, what is secede, what a law? And that means that the 1999 Constitution is obsolete because it is no longer universal to the 36 states. It's only 24 states out of 36 that are still abiding truly by the Constitution. The question that follows really is this, that who has the right? So I've been talking about, why go to court and, if you can succeed in court. Who has the right to challenge the election in court? And I think this is something that is important that we need to know. Because in law, a plaintiff must have what they call standing, because you can't challenge illegality or legality unless you have standing. Standing is a legal capacity to institute proceedings in a court of law. And there are two, I won't go into the specific, but there are actually two Supreme Court cases in Nigeria that tells us what the person goes to court to have standing must have. It says a plaintiff who shows that his civil rights and obligations have been or are in danger of being violated or adversely affected by the act complained of. The right to vote is a civil right. The right to vote is a civil right. So anybody who is a voter can actually take Nigeria to court by saying, I don't want to have an election under a fraudulent constitution. An election under a fraudulent constitution is fraudulent. So in fact, any voter at all in Osun or Ekiti State can go to court and say, I don't want this election to take place because it infringes on my right to vote. Because the right to vote comes under a proper constitution, not a constitution that everybody says is fraudulent. I cannot recall anybody at all that has defended the 1999 Constitution as being legal. I cannot recall anyone doing that. Now, the second question, how can you bring a court case when the courts themselves are products of the 1999 Constitution that you say is fraudulent? There is a misunderstanding that constitution is the same as law. No, constitution is totally different from law. Constitution is about rules of how a country should be run. You can have written constitution or unwritten constitution. The Yorubas had an unwritten constitution, just like England. The UK has an unwritten constitution. So law and constitution are different. What constitution does is that it creates a difference between our own òfin, our own executive at the judiciary. That's what the constitution does. It creates the difference between those two different power brokers in a country. What it does, it establishes a system of government. It defines the scope of the power of the government, the sovereign power of the government. That's what the constitution defines. It articulates the rights that must be infringed. It is totally different from law. The law is a set of rules that governs the behavior of people. It is written. The law is not it's unwritten. In England, in UK, they have unwritten constitution, but the law is written. The law encompasses the constitution. The constitution is within the law. And it also includes legal precedents. When you go to court, they refer to it includes legislative rules, it includes conventions, it includes traditions, and a lot much more than that. And there are two types of law. There is rule by law. Rule by law, for example, you have to drive on you have to drive on the right. That's just law. It's not in the constitution that you should drive on the right, or that when you should give right of way at a roundabout. No, that is law. Constitution. And then there is also something called the rule of law, which controls the unlimited power of government and institutions. So when somebody asks the question, they were appointed under the constitution. That's because the questioner does not understand that the constitution and law are completely different things. The law existed before the constitution. The law goes way back before the 1999 constitution. So the judges are not hamstrung at all. They are not hamstrung at all. They can make judgment on whether the voting in Ekiti or Osun could be stopped, because that's what we are going to court for. We are asking the court to stop the election because it is being held under a fraudulent constitution. And by doing so, you infringe on the rights of voters. The right to vote is a fundamental right. Thank you.
The next question will be anchored by Mr. Yomikwegi.
Eshegoni, Dr. Bashegun, Eshegoni Atunbo, Akibubo, Tembawa lórí ètò náà. Ìbéèrè tí ó kàn sí, why not focus on 2023 presidential elections and let the 2022 election be? Ikejini, how do you intend to raise funds for the court case? Eshegoni.
Thank you very much indeed. In fact, the first question is relatively easy to answer. You cannot allow the 2022, you cannot ignore the 2022 elections and focus on the presidential election. First of all, I want to say, president, if you want to stop election, that's number one. Number two, if the election is fraudulent, if the election is illegal under the 1999 Constitution, then it is illegal in 2022. It was illegal last year, year before. So you can't, the optics is bad. You can't pick and choose. You can't say, oh, well, election, it doesn't matter, but this one won't matter. So that's the simple answer to your question, is that you cannot let 2022 elections be under a fraudulent constitution, and then you fight the 2023 election, which is again under a fraudulent constitution. You can't do that. It's either elections are fraudulent or they are not. And you cannot say 2022 election, 2023, so that people will then start thinking, well, all the Yorubas want to do is they want to be president, so they're not bothered about what happens on their patch. No, that would be wrong. The more difficult question is how to raise funds for the court case. The first thing that I will say is that this is a very, very important case for us, for all Yoruba. It's not just for Ilana. It's a very, very important case for whether you support it or you think we might win or we might not win is not relevant. Is that we as Ilana people, we've said that we don't want the election to take place in 2022. But we are not the only ones who said it. Almost every voice of importance in Yoruba land have been crying, don't vote, don't vote, don't vote. Don't vote, don't vote. You are just telling people not to vote, but you don't give them anything. You don't show any leadership. You're just telling them, don't vote, don't vote, don't vote. That is what we are trying to do here. We are putting our money where our mouth is. We are saying to our people that we too are convinced that there should be no election, and that's why we are going to court. And that is enough to enthuse our people. It is then easier for us to say don't vote, because we ourselves are doing something. Now, and this is very important, because there are some people who think that this is just Ilana's problem, and therefore Ilana should just be the one finding the money. No, this is a Yoruba problem. It's not just for one group, it's for all of us. I can tell you what we at Ilana are doing. What we are doing is that, IlanaUK, what we are doing is this. We, as members, have said we pledge to pay £100 donation. If you have the money, you donate. If you don't have the money, you don't have the money. Whatever amount of money you have, you can donate it. Because what we are trying to do is to gather as much money as possible. But my own personal view is straightforward. I always give this example. There are 120,000 Yoruba people in London. If 20,000 of them donated £5 each, that's all the money we require. This is a very, very important concept, because it spreads the burden. It means that not one group will be paying all the. After all, when Yoruba land is free, Yoruba nation does not. It's not just one person. Yoruba nation. No, it all belongs to us. And what we are hoping others will do is do exactly what we are doing. At the present time, you can go to our website, IlanaUK.org.org, and you can donate money. And you can be certain that that money is going to our lawyer. The lawyer is actually here listening to what we are saying, because I invited him so that he could hear what we are saying here. The idea that some people have, you are not going to, because of that, then abandon your own homeland. You're not going to say, because people in the past have done things badly, therefore, I will have nothing to do with it. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. We are not going to allow the people who have done bad things in the past to determine our future. We at IlanaUK, we are pledged to raise the funds to prosecute this case. And we require other organizations, other people to join us. We want you to join us because this is for all of us. It is not just for one person alone. We have the capacity at IlanaUK to hold the money, to disburse the money. Over the past 2 months, we have established an infrastructure that did not exist before. When things were handed over to us, there were no accounts, there were no members. Things have changed, completely changed. We run a professional organization now. Not only are we interested in this particular case, this election case, we also hope in the future to take the British government to court because of the 1914 amalgamation. Again, we are going to need money for lawyers. So it isn't just stopping this election. We also want to put it on record that we should never have been put in Nigeria in the first place. All these things cost money. And the way we raise the funds is from all of us. We are not selling anything. We are not offering any services. We rely on donations, on people putting hands in their pockets to give money. And as I said, one of the easiest and cheapest way of doing it is to have large numbers. If we had 20,000 members of IlanaUK, the job is done. All you have to pay is £5 joining in fee. £5. That's all you have to. And you can calculate it yourself. That if we had that many people, it would be easy to prosecute this case without anybody being overburdened. And my message to everybody today is this: please take this to your friends, to your place of work, to family, and so on and so forth. That if you joined and you paid your £5, we wouldn't need to pay more money than that if we are large in number. Let me just give you, just divert a bit. I know time is going, just divert a little bit. The Jews have 120, about the same number of Yorubas in London, right? They have 24 MPs, we have 1. How did they manage it? Because we have never learned that your power is enhanced if you belong to an organization. You can't do it by yourself. They are not doing it by themselves. The power that the Jews have over Western government is phenomenal. We have nothing, and yet we have the same number of people. We really need, as Yoruba people, we need to rethink. We need to rethink because we have inherently more power than we think we have. The Western governments, they only understand numbers. They are not interested. They are only interested in numbers. If you have large numbers, you get respected. So if I summarize what I've been saying is this: come and join us at IlanaUK. The amount of money that you require to join is very small. Other organizations, if you are interested in Yoruba Nation, come and join. Just join the fight. You are not going to lose your identity as an organization. We can come to arrangements for example, I spoke to one group 3 days ago, and they are very enthusiastic to raise funds, to bring funds to us. All they are interested in is that we give them updates every 2 weeks. They want to know, this is the money, this is how you spent it, this is what the lawyer is doing, this is the report from the lawyer. And we promise you that This is a new regime. This is a new day. This is a new dawn. We need to forget what has happened in the past. We need to look forward. We need to look, how are we going to get to the promised land? And we are not going to get to it if we don't collect enough funds to fight our battles. I'm sorry if I've gone on a little bit too long.
Thank you very much. Oshe Alagba, our honorable for tonight. Well, just a quick joke. Which one do you know best, your medicine or law?
I don't know any of them anymore.
Fine answer.
Now I'm just an Ilana man.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy, very proud of you. And I'm sure all your honorable members, they will love you for that. Ejo, ẹ̀yin also okay. Má bínú, fi machine tẹ́ fi kasoke, fi kawale. Today we are not allowing any additional question apart from the one we have for our guest tonight. We won't take your questions. Ejo, má bínú. We are next Friday. Now, the remaining 3 questions apart from the one I'll probably want to read out. The next question is, instead of going to court, why not declare Yoruba nation and damn the consequence? Okay, I hope you are taking note. The next one will be, how can we persuade our urban politicians to join the struggle for self-determination? Then come the last one. That's the last question. Those 2 questions, apart from one. Okay. I thought I missed one. The one other question is, how are you carrying along other Yoruba organizations? These 3 questions are with you.
Okay.
Alagba, Dr. Lawyer Oni, we have agreed that we are not going to spend more than the time allocated.
Okay, I'll be very brief.
So that would be very nice.
Yeah, I'll be very brief.
Thank you.
In terms of the other organizations, what I've been doing is that I've been talking to other organizations on behalf of IlanaUK. I've said to them, this is what we are doing. We are taking this case to court. We need funds to do it. It would be nice if you join us. What do you want from your participation? I am that open. You tell me what it is you want from participating. All that needs to be done is that everybody accepts that this is an Ilana-led project. That's it. We at Ilana are leading this project, and we are inviting all organizations to join us. And I've been talking to different organizations, and I've been pretty straightforward with them. This is what we are doing. This is how we are raising our funds, and this is how you can join us to do it. So I've been doing it organization by organization. And anybody who belongs to an organization out there, please, let's talk. Let's talk so that we know exactly what it is that you want, what are your fears, and so on and so forth. Because this is a Yoruba thing. This is not Ilana thing. Everybody thinks this is Bobo Wala Wanu Kini. When we are free, it is not just me alone who will carry my bag to go to Nigeria. We will all go there. It is our country. Now, the next question, I don't want to rush this, but I will probably have to, is that instead of going to court, why not declare Yoruba nation and damn the consequences? Okay. I'm going to start by this, that in the beginning, there were 3 ethnic groups that reached an agreement on how Nigeria was to be governed after time of British law. They were the Hausa, the Igbo, and I know sometimes they say Hausa Fulani, but actually, if people who can recall back will see that mostly they were regarded as Hausa. So it was Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. Those were the 3 groups. The agreement on Ninikwe, there will be 3 semi-autonomous regions with a weak center. That was the agreement. And the agreement was that they were going to have a Westminster-style government. That was the agreement. The agreement was that it carried no penalty. Anybody could leave. There was no penalty involved. Anybody, people start talking, I want to feel secessions, constitution. That's rubbish. The agreement did not preclude anybody to go. That agreement has not expired. In spite of all the military government, the agreement between the three groups, the three ethnic groups, has not expired. Nobody has liquidated it. It has not been superseded, and technically, it is still in existence. So technically, therefore, we could simply just proclaim Yoruba nation. It is not unlawful to do it. Anybody who thinks it is not unlawful to proclaim an independent Yoruba nation. And it reflects on what is already happening on the ground anyway, because it is clear to anybody except Ntoba Tare, Ipe, the Yoruba, the Igbo, and the Middle Belt, they are actively pursuing self-determination. Ntoba Tare, they are not doing it. No. Now, in true democracies, the reaction will be different, because in true democracies, it is events that, I think it was Macmillan who said it, that events trigger political actions. And if there's any indication at all from the mega rallies alone, it tells you that the Yorubas want a proclamation of emancipation. They want to leave Nigeria. There's also no international downside for declaring Yoruba nation today. There's no international downside. And in Africa, I pick an example of Somaliland. They declared independence from Somalia in 1991. Although no foreign powers, that is Western powers, the same with Kosovo actually. Although no foreign power recognizes Somaliland's sovereignty, Somaliland is self-governing today. It has an independent government, it has democratic election, it has everything. It is that country is sustained by what I call a transnational network. They have the diaspora, they have some neighbors who help them, there are friendly states, there are potential trading partners, and so on and so forth, and resourcefulness amongst themselves. So in spite of the fact that they are not recognized by the big powers, they exist. Somaliland exists. And the thing is that we Yorubas have more advantage. As I listed right at the beginning, we have more advantage than Somaliland. And the international community also know that a Yoruba nation will succeed more than Nigeria will ever succeed. So the question is, why do we hesitate? The problem is actually not the other ethnic nations. So the problem is not international thing. The problem are our people. Our Oba and our politicians are wedded to one Nigeria because of what they think they will gain from one Nigeria. There are those who want to be president of Nigeria. Although, as I said, they are not thinking, because the president of Yoruba land will be the equivalent of the president of anywhere else. Dominican Republic, all these little islands with very few population. They have the same UN vote as Nigeria. That actually, if Nigerian politicians had any common sense, they will break the country into as many pieces, because then they will all have individual power, not just one. So that's the Obas and the politicians who are wedded to one Nigeria. Then we have on the other side, Afenifere and other groups that are wedded to restructuring. In other words, to proclaim a Yoruba nation is going to be resisted not by other ethnic groups, but by this group, these Nigerians, by the Obas, by the Yoruba politicians, by the groups like Afenifere and so on. These are the people who are going to resist the proclamation. And therefore, there's no point in doing it, because the consequences will be a split in the Yoruba nation voice. So there's no point in doing something that is going to split our voice. That is why the way we are doing it now, we are when Nigeria, when we go to court and the constitution is declared invalid and Nigeria is now a vacuum, at that stage. So that's where it is advantageous the way we are going. Now, the final question was that báwo la ṣe máa persuade our politicians to struggle, to help us or to join us? I think that was the question, Abi.
Benny, that's the last one.
The case of the politicians, I'm not quite sure that anybody can do anything about it because they are gone already, and I cannot believe that there's going to be any way of turning them around. They are and this is the problem with party politics, is that when you have party politics, politicians are loyal to their parties than to their own people. That's why, Tinubu is campaigning, wants to be president. One empire in Yoruba land, one kidnapping in Yoruba land, one Dagobo Kowaru. Today I was talking to people in my hometown. They were telling me how the price of foodstuff has gone up. Have you heard Tinubu say anything at all about the suffering of Yoruba land? Because as far as he's concerned, his political party is his God. He is not one of us. And look at our Obas. Their case is the one that I have great difficulty in understanding. Shebi Oba Kanashe Ekpala that they burnt him and killed his. Did you hear a single Yoruba Oba say anything? What is the problem with them? The Obas owe us, forget the politician, the Obas owe the Yoruba people their very existence. They don't owe Nigeria. Nigeria doesn't appoint an Oba. We, the people, are appoint an Oba. And yet they don't care at all. And what I say to our Oba is this: when we get Yoruba nation, what are you then going to say? That are you going to then turn around and you say you are one of us? What are you going to say? You cannot be one of us then if you are not one of us now. And the sad aspect of it is this. So if I just round this up, because I think this question is important, and maybe in the future I will develop it if we have the opportunity. Is this: if 6 Obas in Yoruba land, say Owa, Oni, Alaafin, Iwi, Alake, and so on, if they came together and declared Yoruba nation, who's going to oppose them? Which governor is going to say Kosheshe? It's not possible. These people do not have any idea of the power that they have. It's the same with the emirs in the north. When they decide something, the politicians there follow them. But for some reason, our own Obas have become like little children. The effect, completely inept. And these are the people, they go to Abuja to go and bow down before Buhari, our own Yoruba Oba. Lie. So that's the problem we have, is that I believe that, however, having said everything that I've said, I believe that the Ilana may have written to the Obas, because I discussed it with him some time ago. He may have written to the Obas to remind them that their duty is to the Yoruba people, not to anybody else. But the short answer is that if just those who call themselves the prominent Yoruba Obas came together and declared Yoruba nation, that Yoruba nation will stand. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very, very much. In a second, I will ask my co-host to give a short word, because we just come to an end, to the end of most of the questions that are supposed to be. I'm just going to ask you, as one of the, I see me as one of the people attending this this meeting. Baba Ilana, chief, doctor, and lawyer, what will you say to any of us or someone who says, I have an idea? Will you want to listen to his idea, or you just tell him what you just said should be the final?
Well, what I've said is not final. I mean, I used to be an academic. I used to head a research group.
Very clever.
Where I used to have a research group where the people, where the students who were in that group were cleverer than I am. You know, they came with an idea. You have a project. My project was happened to be
wow.
What in Yoruba is a lakurebe, and different people come and they come with different ideas. Anybody, any human being who does not listen to somebody else's idea is a fossil.
Ooh. Can you mean fossil, sir?
Fossil is, I don't know, antiquated, is dead.
Thank you. And I will tell you guys, I just want to entertain you for my own 2 minutes that are allocated to me, and I will hand over to Koiki, then to the convener of this meeting. Why I ask this question is, in the coming days, we should all recognize that here we have a high profile, one of the leaders of this moment, that believes that we cannot all be in the same box. People that have idea, they should come out and let us discuss it. At the end of the day, it's going to be like a match, Manchester United and Chelsea. In most cases, any column might win. Even though I win within the 90 minutes here, I result signal shoot down or be shoot out. So until when they find it. So really and honestly, this journey, this movement, this organization, this arrangement will subsequently need different ideas until Abba achieve ultimate goal. And that's why next Friday, I'm looking forward to bringing 2 eminent people who will come and discuss, debate different ideas, and it's going to be a stimulating Friday coming. Now, let me go to Alagba Koiki. Koiki, please, 1 minute, and then we hand over to the convener, and then we can quickly round up. Koiki.
Àkọ́fẹ́ àsìkò yìí dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ ètò náà. We want to stick to the time. A ní lè gba question kankan mọ́, but eléyìí ò ní jẹ́ ìparí town hall meeting. We're going to have this again, very soon, and I'm sure that will be conveyed out to everybody, and then we'll go over to review more questions as well. To join Ilana, again, www.IlanaUK.org. The membership there is £5. Àwọn kan lè ní owó yẹn pọ̀ díẹ̀. If we look at Labour Party and Conservative, I think it's about £4.95 or £4.85 for the Labour Party. And I'm sure most people that have paid for those kind of subscription also have a good say. I was popping out to my mom's house. Nígbà tí mo débẹ̀, mo rí pé David Lamy ó ti fi ìwé ránṣẹ́ pé kọjọ ìbò tún bọ̀ padà. So again, this is the kind of a system that we want to have when we eventually have a Yoruba land. Ó ṣe ìtí politician tó máa intimidate yín, tó máa harass yín, àníri jù báyẹn lọ, máa hand over padà fún olórí. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí, a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire tí ó ti ń wò wá. We are streaming on different multiple media that have connected. I would like to appreciate all the other media platforms as well. Ẹ ṣé gan ni.
Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ gbogbo ẹ̀yin moderators wa láti orí Ọ̀túnba ti White Lion wa Koiki. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá wa náà Dr. Olúṣọlá Òní. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní orí ètò yìí. Ètò yìí ó wáyé láti ọwọ́ ìlànà United Kingdom, and bí àwọn bàbá wa ṣe wí, a máa nífẹ̀ẹ́ púpọ̀ kí gbogbo wa kájọ ṣe, kájọ gbéga. Wọ́n ní ọ̀tún wò òsì wò, ń tá bá jọ fojú wò, gígùn ní gún, ìwọ gbé kémi ó gbé, òun làjọ fi ń gbé ẹrù dórí. Ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation yìí, ọ̀rọ̀ tó kàn yín tó kàn mí tó kàn gbogbo wa ni. Elédùmarè á dẹ̀ mú wa dé ilẹ̀ ìlérí náà tí gbogbo wa ń jà fún àdébẹ̀ àní kú sọ́nà bí èéfín. Nígbà tá a bá gba Yorùbá nation wọn ò ní fẹ́nikẹ́ni ṣe àwátì. Ẹ ṣé gidi gan ni. Kí a tó máa lọ, a mọ̀ pé àdúrà la fi bẹ̀rẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká fi àdúrà parí ẹ̀. Màá pe olórí Mrs. Jẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ kán jọ̀wọ́ kán bá wa fi àdúrà kásẹ̀ ètò yìí ní ilẹ̀. Olórí mí ìtara yín o.
Olórí ṣé wà ń bẹ̀?
Mrs. Jẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ ṣé wà ń bẹ̀?
Mrs. Jẹ́gẹ́dẹ́.
Olórí Jẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ wọ́n wà bẹ́ẹ̀, jẹ́ kí n unmute wọn. Mi ò rí wọn unmute.
Bóyá next time bóyá kan. Bóyá jẹ́ kí ẹlòmíì tún bá wa tán bá sì dé sí torí time.
Okay.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká kàn wẹ́ nìkan randomly kan fún wa ní àdúrà.
Okay. Anybody ló lè fún wa ládùúrà ní abala bíi tá a dé yìí.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí ìyá wa Grace dáadáa kọ́ fún wa ní àdúrà. Ẹ bá wa mute.
Ìyá wa Grace dáadáa àdúrà ńlá.
Yes. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run alágbára nítorí òun ni gbogbo pàtì agbára ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀. Adúpẹ́ pé ní ìpàdé tá a pè yìí Olúwa lọ́wọ́ nínú rẹ̀ ó sì bá wa rohun gbogbo. Ó sì mọ ibi tá ń lọ, ó mọ ibi tá ti ń bọ̀. Torí òun ló ní pàtì agbára. Àwa yìn lógo lónìí, Olúwa wa gbọpẹ́ wa. Ọlọ́run ẹ̀rí, Ọlọ́run ọ̀rọ̀ lórí gbogbo ohun tí a wá gbé kalẹ̀ ní ètò nípa àtijáde kúrò ní oko ẹrú. Ó dọwọ́ yín bàbá. Olúwa wa gbàkóso ní orúkọ Jésù. Olúwa gbàkóso ní orúkọ Jésù. Àti ibi tá àti ìdè àti ibi tá ń lọ àti ibi tá ti ń bọ̀ tá bá ti fi lé yín lọ́wọ́ kò sóhun tó ṣòro ṣe. Ọlọ́run ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá bá wa ṣe nípa owó tá máa fi gbé kinní ní arugẹ tó ń gbogbo máa fi lọ déédéé tá máa fi rí ohun tá a fẹ́ gangan torí àfẹ́ ìpàdé tèmi ìpàdé olóyin ìpàdé Ọlọ́run ni kò sí ìrẹ́gbẹ́ kò sí àròyé rárá láti pé ká lè jálẹ̀ ibi tá ń lọ. Olúwa wa ràn wá lọ́wọ́ lọ́mọdé lágbà. Olúwa ràn wá lọ́wọ́ jẹ́ ká máa mú níbi tó láláì jẹ́ pé ó jẹ́ ìnira. Gbogbo bá dẹ̀ ṣe tètò náà sílẹ̀ tán bá ti ń dẹnu kẹnu kọ̀ọ̀kan gbogbo group gbogbo àwọn èèyàn tá à ń fẹ́ pé tá bá àwa bíi 120 tá wà ní gbogbo diaspora tá bá ti ní £5 yẹn mi ò rò pé ó máa ní ẹnì kankan lára. Olúwa bá wa bá ẹnì kankan wa sọ̀rọ̀. Olúwa ràn wá lọ́wọ́ ní orúkọ Jésù. Olúwa fàánú gbọ́ tiwa. Àwọn bàbá wa Olúwa bá wa dì wọ́n mú. Bàbá wa ṣíbẹ̀ Akíntóyè Olúwa bá wa dì wọ́n mú. Bàbá wa ṣe fi Ìgbòho ó sì wà lórí ẹ̀mí wa ó wà lórí ọkàn wa. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká continue bí bàbá yẹn ṣe máa jáde níbẹ̀ yẹn bó ṣe máa jáde kí ìmọ̀ àwọn ọ̀tá kó lè dasán kó lè dòfo lórí ẹ̀ láti pé kán fi pamọ́ indefinite àfẹ́ rárá. Olúwa ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Olúwa dẹ̀ ṣínà fún wa á bá wa gbé jáde ìgbàgbọ́ tiwa nìyẹn. Olúwa ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ fún wa. Olúwa ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Olúwa má fi ìpàdé yìí ṣe àṣemọ fún wa. Ní ìgbàkúgbà tá a bá ti fẹ́ pé gbogbo ọkàn bá mi fọwọ́ tọ́ wọn kí gbogbo wa dẹ̀ máa contribute oníkálukú ń tá a bá ní àìdíà kó gbogbo lè lọ déédéé. A lè wá yìí lógo ní ìgbẹ̀yìn nígbà tá a bá ti gbà tẹ́ bá ti mú wa dé ilẹ̀ ìlérí náà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó rí Jésù Olúwa wa. Àmín lórúkọ Jésù.
Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ lọ gbogbo yín. Mo fẹ́ fi àsìkò dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ our special guest, the convener, my co-host, àti gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ fi ara balẹ̀ tẹ́ listen sí wa àti gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ comply pẹ̀lú bó ṣe yẹ kó rí. For the first time láti jọ́ ti join ní Yorùbá Nation. Mo qualify to get also an award with my co-host because ṣe meeting 2 hours rí o ṣe rí minimum ṣe 3-4 hours pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ náà. So gẹ́gẹ́ mo ṣe sọ next week Friday is going to be another date with audience 2 different opposing camps gẹ́gẹ́ bí bàbá wa ṣe sọ pé eléyìí gbọ́tọ̀ ń gbọ́ ní la fi ń make a decision. So thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you and our special thanks go to our guest Baba Ṣẹ́gun mo dúpẹ́ lọ yín. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Wish everybody.
Thank you.
Akọrin
Bye.
a máa kọrin ẹ jẹ́ ká kọrin lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́ alàgbà kó ìkíṣẹ́ nítòsí.
Lẹ́lẹ́ ni yóò máa fẹ́.
Lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́.
Àsíá
Yorùbá nation.
Lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́.
Ẹ ṣé o. Bàbá Òṣèlú.
Ẹ ṣé mà.
Yorùbá nation anthem.
No, Bàbá Òṣèlú.
Yorùbá national anthem.
Thank you. Very nice weekend. God bless you all.
From the US. Thank you, Dad.
Recording stopped.
Ẹ tó ń kọ́kọ́rọ́ lé dání ẹ bá tilẹ̀kùn káà tó kú lè ráyè lọ. Alàgbà Ṣọlá a máa sọ later. God bless you.